Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the film The Ten Commandments.
The 1956 version. And this is one of our favorite biblical movies that tells the events of the book of Exodus and about Moses' life. And we've watched this film every year as a tradition, so we thought it'd be a great time to actually review it with you and hopefully be able to share your thoughts with us in the comments below.
Yes, and before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to update future podcasts and all the pause videos.
Absolutely. Now this movie, as we mentioned, originally came out in 1956, directed by Cecil D. DeMille, who's one of the greatest directors at that time, of all time. I mean, he still is now legendary.
Yes.
And this type of movie hadn't been done before. It was presented as a play, like we do now with Hamilton and such. And
right.
It was recorded. And there were 14 acts, including an overture and an interlude where they took a 20 or 30 minute intercession
right.
or break. And it's known for the sheer pageantry, and that, again, few motion pictures that can claim to equal what was done at that time. It was actually filmed in Egypt and Sinai, and it's known for having one of the biggest sets ever created. So Star Wars and George Lucas had something to use as an example, and he did mention at one point that this was one of his inspirations.
Right.
What this movie had done.
Right. And as we said, we watch it every year, and even though it can reach almost to 3 hours in length, or even up to 4 hours if you count all the special features and everything, it never feels like it's dragging on. No matter how many times you see it or when you see it, it doesn't feel like that the play is dragging on way too long or showing things that are unnecessary or leaving you bored or anything. The entire thing is engaging from start to finish, even with the intermission breaks.
Yes. Now, what are some of the things that made this movie a standout? One is the Technicolor.
Yes.
And the cinematography. Absolutely beautiful and bright and lifelike. And at that time, this wasn't technology that had been used for very few movies, let alone on a movie of this scale.
Right.
It also had a cast of great actors, most notably Charlton Heston, who portrayed Moses, and Yul Brynner, who portrayed Pharaoh, which is only what he was known by in the movie.
Right.
And again, at this time, they were two of the biggest names that existed in Hollywood. And I always sit and wonder, what was it like for people who saw this movie back then? It had to be something grand, like when we go to see Star Wars or Jurassic Park, or movies that are done on a grand scale now that catch our interest. It had to be similar to that.
Right.
And also, another thing was the sound system that was created specifically for this movie.
Right.
It didn't exist. So Cecil B. DeMille, to me, reminds me of Walt Disney and the things that he did in his life.
Right.
First time, never being done before, using different types of technology and
effects and strategies to make the film. And one thing that we also hear a lot when we heard about like making of videos is that they wanted to make everything look like it was really happening. It was really realistic. There was times it would take days or weeks just to do one scene because they wanted to make it look like you were really in the time of Exodus.
Yes. And one reason this is such a perfect movie, if you've never seen it, to watch now, is of course it chronicles all the events leading up to Passover and the slaves, the Israelite slaves, being freed from Egyptian dominion,
right,
or domination. And again, not only is it fun and informative and just entertaining to watch and beautiful to look at, it also, if you choose to celebrate Passover or Easter, will give you more joy in enjoying those things, right, as well. And for us, I can say for me to start off, because this movie was shown for decades, every single Sunday, right, that Easter occurred. And Passover week, of course, doesn't always occur during the same time. But for Easter Sunday, this had become a tradition for many, many families, millions of families,
Right.
around the world. Right now, as of last year, the last 2 years, this movie wasn't shown.
Right.
I'm very grateful that I was able to find this DVD years ago at a CVS.
Right.
And I used extra care bucks to get it for free.
Of course you did.
So I'm really happy that we own it, and we can still continue that tradition of watching it on Resurrection Sunday or Easter Sunday,
Right.
whichever term you choose to use. I'm sorry. And again, it depicts the events of Passover and exactly what Passover is about. And it shows it in, as Rascal said, in very good accuracy. There's an introduction on the DVD where Cecil B. DeMille tells his inspiration, the Bible, why he chose to do it, how long he wanted to do it. And for those of you that are movie files and love facts,
Right.
a fun fact is this movie had been done originally in black and white decades earlier and was a kind of a hit at the box office. But of course it looked really different. It was black and white, the clothes of the time, and he did not go for accuracy like he did with the 1956 version.
Right.
And so this was his second attempt at bringing this story to life for people around the world. And this time he really not only took his time, but says he was inspired by artwork and different things. And he read the Bible himself, different versions, Jerusalem Bible, King James Version, and he felt that he was moved to make it and to do a great job this time. And clearly his focus on making it great, entertaining, and something epic paid off.
Right. And it still doesn't feel like, you know, it's a dated movie or an old movie.
Definitely.
Or something that is of its time and you got something better now. It's really different because we see more biblical movies being made now, and majority of the time now they tell you up front that they decide to take liberties, add new characters, change things because they wouldn't agree with modern times, and they pretty much take the Bible as if it's fiction and then use it for entertainment purposes. Now sometimes that can work when it's like, hey, we can make it bigger on screen, but majority of the time they change events that are important to the lessons and the journeys of the people. So Ten Commandments still holds up because he was stated at one point that just about nothing was changed from the Bible. It's trying to be line for line, action for action. If it was something that wasn't shown there, they would do their own segue that was believable, and it didn't feel like you were trying to reinterpret into a whole nother story.
Right. And of course the costumes are absolutely beautiful. The set work is beautiful. You look at this and it's like, wow, they really did this. Someone really took the time to do this. And you can always tell, regardless of what business it is, what genre it is, let's put it this way. When someone takes the time to focus and really put their heart and soul into it and passion, it shows no matter what walk of life they're from, whom they are, and what business it may be. I'm sorry guys, I'm pulling a brain fart. But you can tell from this movie that he put his heart and soul and passion into it. Not only for the story itself, but just his love for the craft, his love for movie making, his love for entertaining and making people happy,
Right.
and giving them something they never had before. And he did it with this movie. This is his legacy. If you look online and read more about him, you'll learn that he did many movies
Right.
over the decades before this movie was created. But this one here is his legacy, and you can see the culmination of everything that he worked for in this movie. Another fun fact is that the actual sets and the statues and the props and the things are still here and buried in Egypt, and they actually showed the props and things in a video we watched a couple of years ago.
Yes.
They were so large and so grandly made And of course, at that time, Hollywood wasn't making any more biblical movies.
Right.
They didn't want the set and the thing, so they buried them.
Oh, wow.
So just imagine if someone got the rights to purchase these sets and then brought them out and used that set, hint, someone listening, to make more biblical movies with this awesome stage and settings and things of that nature.
Right. And one thing I have to point out is that even though the story is still, really taken seriously, there are points in there where we did laugh at certain things.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie to watch, and you still take the story seriously. It's not played so much where you stop taking it seriously because you're making jokes and things, but there are certain lines that are said, the way they're delivered and things that we just
Who cares? He's a man.
Yes, that's a line. That's actually a line from the movie, and it's one of our favorites because it just kind of comes out of nowhere, but it still fits.
And it may not be biblically accurate, but it is womanly accurate.
This is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. There are certain lines in there that were just hilariously delivered, and there's even a point where it sort of breaks the fourth wall, which is one other scene besides that one you just mentioned, because that's the best one in there. There's one point when it gets later in, and they have Yvonne DiCarlo in there, and Moses.
Lily Monster, for those of you who are not familiar with her, she played Lily Monster in the Monster series.
Right, and they have Moses say to her that she is. I think they've actually used this line many times in other biblical movies. Is "You're wise as you're beautiful," and when he leaves, she looks at the camera.
Yeah.
And then keeps going with the movie. And it's like, wait a minute.
So yes, there's humor, there's drama, there's action, there's suspense, there's storytelling, there's biblical accuracy. This movie has it all, and it has inspired not only many remakes that are being done over the decades, but also it's inspired some animated movies and series as well.
Right.
So if you have not seen the Ten Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille's Ten Commandments, you need to find it either online for free. We don't know. We haven't tried because we own it, but it may be. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon for sale. And give it a watch and let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you have seen it, let us know. Do you love it as much as we do? Is it one of your favorites, or is it something you thought could have been done differently? Do you think it's outdated, or like us, do you think it's timeless regardless of when it was made? Drop us a line and let us know.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. We hope you're having a fantastic Passover week and a fantastic Easter Resurrection Sunday, whichever you use.
Right.
And if you don't celebrate it, have an awesome weekend anyway, and give this movie a try. You don't have to be a Christian in order to watch this movie. Again, it was made as entertainment. Cecil B. DeMille was aware and sure that more than just people of faith would watch this movie.
Right.
And again, the way that it's made, it is entertaining, and you will love it simply for, as is stated on the DVD, the sheer pageantry and spectacle that few motion pictures can claim to equal. In the splendor of Cecil B. DeMille's, the remake of his epic, The Ten Commandments.
So, thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.